Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a hot take. Hot take on immigration again. Why? Why are you doing this, Joe Biden? Because you're stupid and you think opening the borders opens the borders to Democratic voters. But it doesn't. Well, it sort of does, but in the long run it won't. Because immigrants aren't stupid and they're going to figure out that you're a hack. And they're going to vote for Republicans eventually. Eventually. So, the Border Patrol intercepts convicted murderers, child rapists crossing U.S. border. I know, Joan, it's terrible. Look, in every group of people, there are criminals. And it totally makes sense that, for instance, on April 4th, in the San Diego sector of the border, agents intercepted a 35-year-old El Salvadoran national who had been convicted in 2009 for aggravated sexual battery of a child under 13 in Virginia. That's pretty bad. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Good. The man was subsequently removed to El Salvador in 2014 after having a portion of his criminal sentence suspended. Custom Borders Protection adds. I don't know why you would let this guy out of prison for what he did. I mean, it sounds pretty bad. But the fact that he's come back, you should throw him in prison for the rest of his life. At minimum. At minimum. What do you think this guy's coming to do? Do you think the people of El Salvador, old school, well, let's be honest, if you're south of the border, you're more old school than you are in the United States. What do you think the locals will do to a guy like that? Do you think they're going to allow him to live? Do you think they're going to allow him to walk the streets if they know who he is? No. There's a reason he came back here. Because his odds of survival are much higher in the United States. It's just plain old survival. There's no way this guy should be walking the streets. A guy who was sentenced to 20 years in prison for what he did, he gets out early and he has the nerve to come back here? I'm glad he was caught, but how many guys weren't caught? You can't send these guys back to their home countries and expect them to stay there when the border's open. The border's wide open. How do you expect these guys to stay there? During the Trump admin, these guys couldn't come back. No way could a guy like this come back. It was hard enough to get back across the border during the 4 years of Trump. A guy like him, he couldn't go through legally. There's no way. There's only one way a guy like him could get back in this country, and that's illegal. Do you think for a second Ellis Island would let a guy in like that back in the day? No way. Absolutely no way. First off, it would have been like 1900 and they would have hung him in this country. Assuming they did something like that for whatever reason and deported him. There's no way. There's no way they would have let him back in. They didn't let in people who were too old, who didn't have jobs, who didn't have skills, who were sick. There was a process at Ellis Island. There's no process when the border's open and people just run across it. That's not a process. When you capture people who sneak in, you're not following a process. You're trying to tamp down the problem. And you're not doing it successfully because you're only capturing a percentage of the people that cross the border. Not all of them. You're not capturing all of them. If you were capturing all of them, who would bother to pay coyotes? People are coming across the border. The only numbers we have are the numbers that get caught. And the estimates of people like, you see on a drone footage that got away. CBP also notes a dramatic increase in sex offenders crossing the U.S. border, adding in fiscal year 2021, which began on October 1st, Border Patrol agents have arrested 31 sex offenders, exceeding the 25 sex offenders arrested in San Diego sector during fiscal year 2020. So that's an uptick. And that's just the ones they caught. Now, is every migrant a sex offender? Of course not. But you can't know how many are sex offenders unless you have border control. You just can't know. How are you supposed to know anything about people who come into your country? You know nothing about the people who got in illegally. You know absolutely nothing. They could be crazy maniacs who have decided, I'm going to go to America and kill as many people as I can. You know nothing. They're not being tested for beer virus. These people could all have it. You're worried about the beer virus. You're worried about regular Americans who have been quarantined for months on end, who have been out of work, sitting in their homes. You're worried about them coming, God forbid they walk into a supermarket without a mask, but you're not worried about a total stranger from a foreign country who walked in you know nothing about. They don't have a mask. They don't have a mask when they walk into the country. They might put one on because, well, these crazy Americans, I'll put one on while I'm in the supermarket, assuming they even have money to do that. You can't run a border like this. You can't run a country like this. Fox News' Carlson, not racist to wonder how many illegal immigrants are in the United States. This is the problem with people, not on the extreme left, but on the left in general. They can't talk about this because they feel anytime they talk about immigration, in any sort of right-wing context, like if you say, well, there seems to be a lot of immigrants crossing the border, to them that sounds racist. To stop anyone sounds racist to them. That's the problem. It's not. This is something to point out. Not that the people who are so weak-willed, so petrified of being called racist, as 99% of them are white people. They're just white people who, they're paranoid. Paranoid. I'm paranoid. I'm definitely paranoid about it. It's a thing. It's a thing. You get called, you get stamped with that, you got an issue on your hands. You got to stomp that out immediately, or else you could lose work. You could, especially if you're in movies, entertainment, your visible persona. It hurts you. It hurts you. Even just the accusation hurts you. But you have to be a grown-up. These people are here illegally. We have laws. If you take the laws away, then they're legal. Now, a lot of people say, oh, we should take the laws away, blah, blah, open borders. That hasn't happened yet. It'll probably never happen. And you're woke-tarded for thinking it should. We need border control because there are criminals. Criminals we convicted coming back here. We let them go with the understanding, okay, we're going to let you back into your home country. You're not going to come back here, right? Oh, no. Then they came back anyway. Big league politics, a little hyperbolic. America expected to be flooded by close to 2 million migrants by the end of 2021. I don't know, that seems like an awfully high number. That probably is just based on the numbers coming in today, right? And you extrapolate. I don't think that's going to be the case, but it's going to be high. It's going to be higher than normal thanks to idiot Joe Biden. Oh, come in. Oh, wait, don't come in. Again, because he thinks everybody who comes across the border instantly becomes a Democrat and loves Joe Biden. I'm a nice guy. We don't need a nice guy. Nice guys finish last. Do you want a nice guy as your lawyer in a trial? Well, why didn't you tell them about the evidence? Oh, well, I didn't want to interrupt them. He seemed to know what he was doing. Is that the nice guy you want? You want a nice guy? Do you want a nice guy as a bouncer? Why'd you let all these people in? Oh, well, they seem cool. Nice guys can be too nice. Joe Biden isn't even a nice guy. He pretends to be. That's his excuse. But, part of this problem, too, is math. You let in more migrants, it depresses wages. Would you rather let in 1,000,000 people who end up working under the table for nothing, or let in 50,000 who are on the path to American citizenship and get paid a decent wage? So do you want 1,000,000 people getting paid, they're essentially serfs, or do you want 50,000 people who are your equals? The Democrats and the weak want the latter because I think they're kind of racist. They're racist, they're weak. They're more concerned about their image as being a woke and wonderful person than they are actually about solving the problem. They don't know about the problem. That's why they sign on to this. They have no idea. They're stupid. They're ignorant. And that's why they support this. They just looked at the math. If they just looked at the numbers, if they just looked at all the problems, if they lived in some of these border states, oh my God, change their tune immediately. Kennedy, Biden just doesn't care about migrant surge. This is dangerous. Yeah. He is from Louisiana. Representative? No, senator. Yeah, I mean, it's way worse. Way worse than under Trump. Trump had the border situation contained. Biden merely had to continue that. Now, again, he could have slowly undone some things, but to rip everything out, he's caused chaos. And he's not taking responsibility for it at all. He keeps blaming Trump. And no one believes that. Does anybody, even on the left, believe that Trump is the source of our problems on the border? No. No one. 72% of Americans call illegal immigration direct threat to the United States. Well, there you go. Let's see. AP NORC poll. I don't know them. But, so if you like polls, I would say it's probably higher than that. Probably higher than that. Again, people who want immigration control, who want borders, who want a wall, they're not against the migrants. They just want the migrants to come here legally. They just want it to be under control. The people who don't want the control are people who they either don't understand the issue or they're looking to make money. Anthony Fauci has, quote, nothing to do with the border, while having 10% of incoming foreigners have the beer virus. That's a high rate, okay? You could vaccinate everyone in the United States. Let's say you do. Do you think the illegal aliens are going to get vaccinated? No. Some of them might, under the radar, if they can. A lot of them just won't, because they avoid any kind of scrutiny. When you're in a country illegally and you could be deported, you have to avoid scrutiny. If you don't, you could be deported. And then the thousands of dollars you paid the coyotes to get here, that's gone. You don't have the income anymore. You're just deported. And then you get back to your home country and you're screwed. But Fauci, where is he on this issue? He doesn't care. He doesn't care. The highest paid bureaucrat in Washington doesn't care about beer virus. Doesn't care that, 10% of the incoming foreigners. It's 100,000 people came across the border, I believe, in the last month. That's like 10,000 people. And that's just the people we know about. It was probably way more than that. They're all cramped together in trucks when the coyotes bring them here. You get one guy who's got beer virus. He's in one of those trucks. Everybody has the beer virus. They're trapped in there for hours together, breathing the same air in hot conditions. No sunlight. Yeah, they're all going to get it. Then they're going to contact everybody they contact. They're not going to go to the hospital until they're on death's door. Which means a lot of them just won't ever go to the hospital. They'll just run out the virus, spreading it wherever they go. Touching things. breathing. A lot of them don't have masks. So, I feel bad for that poor migrant who came across the border. I'm going to give him some food and help him on his way. Oh, God, I got beer virus. And I've given it to my family. You cannot help people until you help yourself. That's why you put the mask on the child, on yourself, before you put it on the child in the airplane. So, in order to help ourselves, we got to get our own situation under control. And then we can help other people. It's as simple as that. We get our border under control, we get the beer virus under control, and then we could go, okay, now who needs help? Simple. But here's the big takeaway. This was on the Customs and Border Protection website. As you can see, I have this on the Wayback Machine. Somebody on Twitter found it. Apparently, it was scrubbed from the Biden administration's own border protection website. Custom and Border Protection website. They scrubbed this from the site. But the Wayback Machine always remembers. And here it is. 2 Yemeni men arrested by Border Patrol, identified on FBI's terrorism watch list. U.S. Border Patrol agents assigned to the El Centro sector arrested 2 Yemeni men within the last 2 months that were identified on a terrorism watch list. Now, I'm not a big fan of the terrorism watch list, but they were from Yemen. It's not exactly a stable part of the world, and the Yemenis have every reason to be pissed off at us. They hated Bush, they hated Obama, and then, yes, they hate Trump too. The first incident occurred on January 29th at 1:10 a.m. when agents assigned to the El Centro station arrested a man for illegally entering the United States. Agents apprehended the man approximately 3 miles, blah, 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 blah. 33-year-old illegal alien from Yemen was on the FBI's terrorism watch list, as well as the no-fly list. Additionally, agents found a cellular phone SIM card hidden beneath the insole of his shoe. Yeah, that doesn't sound too suspicious. The man was transferred to ICE. Second incident occurred on March 30th. That's pretty recent. 11:30 p.m. Stopped the guy from basically the same thing. 26-year-old illegal alien from Yemen, also on the list and no-fly list. Held in federal custody pending removal. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't think these guys were here to pick blueberries. And these are just the guys they caught. I mean, these guys were literally just walking across the border. So this is why we need border control. Because they wouldn't be able to do this otherwise. They'd see a big line of people trying to get in the United States. And they'd go, can we get across that line? No, we don't have fake IDs. We'll never get across. And then they would turn around and have to figure out a way across the border. They'd have to smuggle themselves. This is why we need border patrol. Now, I'm not a big fan of the war on terror at all. In fact, I think it went way too far. And who knows? These Yemenis could be totally innocent. But that they're sneaking into the country, and that one of them has a SIM card in his shoe, it's awfully suspicious. So, and it's not like people from Yemen can't afford a plane ticket. You had a plane ticket to Mexico. You could afford a plane ticket to the United States. So, this is a big problem. You've got foreign nationals coming here. They're not tested for beer virus. They could be up to no good. They're not all bad people. But we need to control the border in order to determine that. So control the border, Biden, or you're just going to keep taking the hits. 2022 is just around the corner.